VJ said what I said. No renege on the sports talk off his head. This more than chit chat, more like gotta show me. I catch your daily bite, Black Mamba, that's Kobe. Born out of Texas like the Rangers, New York hockey. The big vanilla funny, the vanilla poppy. Head first through a ring of fire, Dan Marino. All bets on them, rare luck in the casino. Is there blue, amaze, college color clothes. Hall of Fame skill, Charles Woodson with the rose. These debates will raise your temperature to a fever. He on another speed, Tyreek Hill like a cheetah. Really know the sport, not just a sports reader. Hypocritical on your stance, non-believer. VJ virtue, opinions might hurt you. Sports talk debate, back and forth, Betty murk you. VJ said what I said. Infinity TV.
Going on, everybody? Welcome into VJ Said What I Said. I'm your host, as always, VJ Husky, the big vanilla funny, and welcome to Infinity TV. Got a great show for you guys lined up today, man. I want to welcome you all back, and I want to start today by thanking all the views that I got last week on my debut show here on Infinity Television on YouTube. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's keep it rolling, man. I got so much for y'all. Trust me, that was just a little, that was a warm-up. I was just stretching. I'm not even ready to get on the treadmill and get the running when it comes to what I'm going to bring you guys, though. But we got a great show for you guys lined up today, man. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We might get to a little NBA, and then we're definitely going to talk about the Michigan Wolverines, the reigning, defending, undisputed national college football champions. We'll definitely talk about that. I got a lot to get into with that. But as always, we're going to start our show with our word of the day. Now, today's word of the day was a coin flip. When I woke up this morning and I felt like that the heavens gave me the word that I wanted to use today, it gave me two. I've had a really weird morning, but it gave me focus and it gave me connection. So I figured I'd ask my daughter, Journey. If you ask my 2-year-old anything, she'll answer. Anybody got 2-year-old out there? You guys know 2-year-olds? Yip, talk all day. I said, Journey, we going with focus or we going with connection? Focus, daddy. There it is. So shout out to my 2-year-old daughter, Journey. She's the one who gave us today's word. So today's word is focus. And as you guys know, today's word will be implicated in life and in sports. So in life, I think this is the most focused part of the calendar, right? Halloween to January 2nd, you got to have a lot of focus in your life. You have Halloween. What costume are you going to wear? What party are you going to go to? What are you going to dress the kids are? What are you, if you're your family, you're married, what are you guys going to do as a group? Like, you got to focus on stuff like that. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. You got to focus on where we're having it, who's traveling. Your kids away at college, they're coming home. They got a place to stay. You got somewhere to go. You can come home with me. You can go home with them. It's a lot of focus, a lot of things going on around Thanksgiving. You got the NFL games that day. They got a Black Friday game now on Amazon. A lot of things to focus on. You get to December, it's Christmas. I tell you, man, I asked a friend of mine last week, what's the worst month a company cannot pay an employee? Take a guess what month you think that would be. It's probably December. And if you say, well, why is it December? Well, I mean, it's the holidays, it's Christmas. It's a lot of focus, man. You got to get the Coco Melon doll for your daughter, the tricycle for your son, PS5. I'm glad I'm not to the game entertainment system era yet. I know some of y'all parents, woo, I see some of these prices. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to still play Nintendo and Super Nintendo. I still play Super Tecmo Ball and NBA Jam, the old one with Grandma Ma and Larry Johnson on the Charlotte Hornets. So you got to have a lot of focus this time of year, and then that leads you into the new year. You're going to go out or even going to fall asleep by the time you get my age before the new year even hits. That's never happened, but I feel like it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like Charlie Woods has never beat Tiger Woods, but even Tiger said he feels like it's coming. That me crashing by 10:30 and not even making it to the ball drop and just waking up the next morning like, oh, all right, thank you, Lord, for letting me see another year and then going on about my day. Those days are coming, but all of that requires so much focus in your personal life. You switch it over to sports. You talk about Halloween, that's when the first college football playoff rankings come up. This is when you really got to lock in now. You're in the back tail end and in the beef of your conference schedule. Everybody, unless you're in the ACC, you can schedule the SEC, and you can schedule Southwest Louisiana Culinary Arts in November at home before the big rivalry game. And SEC gets away with that. The only conference that's allowed to do that. Or I guess because it's so tough there. We'll get into that later down the line. But you do have the first college football rankings come out. and you're in the beef, you're in the meat of your conference schedule. It's heavy right now. You got to lock in. Guys are banged up. Guys are bruised up. You got to play, especially when you're undefeated at that point. You can see the finish line. You're looking. You can see the finish line. You can see that rivalry game coming up. And if you get through that game, you can see the conference championship game. And hell, you win that game, it's showing you're going undefeated. Other than for some reason, if you're Florida State, you're going undefeated and win your conference championship. You don't get to play in the college football playoff. Normally, it happens. This year, for some reason, it didn't. And the team that everybody fought to get in got manhandled, had 10 points going into the fourth quarter against Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and their coach just said, adios. Was that the send-off? Yeah, you know me, third eye VJ, Mr. Conspiracy Theory. Was that the send-off for Nick Saban? Was that like Tom Osborne back in 97 when Michigan beat Washington State in the Rose Bowl? Charles Woodson had ousted and votes Peyton Manning for the Heisman, and Nebraska beat Tennessee in the bowl game, and Tom Osborne said, legendary Nebraska coach, I'm going to retire. Back then, they rewarded you the national championship. Nobody really won it. The media voted, and this is the best team. All right, they're undefeated. We'll give it to them. But that year, they had the media, and they had the coaches. The media knew Michigan was the best team in the nation. Number one defense in the nation, Heisman Trophy winner, primarily a defensive player, Mr. C-Dub, Charles Woodson. In my opinion, the greatest all-around, not corner or safety, the greatest all-around defensive back. Guys, listen to what I'm telling you, because I know I'm going to hear the names. The greatest all-around defensive backs in the history of the sport of football, period. It's close, but I have info that can tell you he's done it more than those other guys. But he won the Heisman. They won the Rose Bowl. They beat Washington State. The coaches poll gave it to Tom Osborne as like a send-off. Is that the reason why Alabama really got into the college football playoff? Maybe somebody knew Nick Saban was possibly going to retire. Let's send him out. And maybe Milroe can make a play down the stretch and get you a win like the lucky throw after he spit up on himself on third down, and then the lucky throw on the 4th and 31 in the corner of the end zone where the receiver pushes off the defensive back. I mean, it's plain as day. Referee standing right there, making sure he controlled the ball, got the 2 feet. And you're there to see all of that, but you didn't see the blatant push. Hey, that's fine. They got the dub. But maybe Milroe can do that to Michigan. No. And now he retires. So you look around what happens this time of year and how you have to focus and lock in with college football. Starts about Halloween, goes into Thanksgiving, goes into the first week of December. Then there's the Heisman presentation. Then there's the college football playoff. There's no more focused part of a college football calendar than right there. Look at the NFL. By the time you get to Thanksgiving, you have to really lock in and focus. You got to really – this is where you're either going to make the playoffs or you're going to miss the playoffs. Case in point, my mighty Miami Dolphins, they spit up on themselves and cost themselves a division last Sunday night at home against the Buffalo Bills. But you know where they really lost the division? Was the Tennessee Monday night home game that they lost, up 13 points with like 5 and some change to go. That's the game that lost them the division. So they didn't lose it last weekend. They lost it in that focus point of the season where you're supposed to lock in, get a little deeper. I've been watching the Hard Knocks, so I've seen every episode. I hear what McDaniel's saying to the guys. I see the reaction when they win. I see the reaction when they lose. They were mentally destroyed after that loss. Then you go to Baltimore and get your ass handed to you like that. You get the Dallas win on Christmas Eve, but you go to Baltimore and you get embarrassed like that, and then you give up a game you're really controlling, but you give up a 96-yard punt return that turned that game all around, and it made Buffalo look like they were really world beaters that night. We'll get into NFL Super Wild Card Weekend predictions a little later into the show. We'll talk about that Steeler game. I don't like the spread, but Mason Rudolph is their quarterback, and I heard it's supposed to be like 50-mile-an-hour winds. But even in college basketball, you talk about this point of the year where you talk about getting your focus. It's full-on conference play for everyone in college basketball. No more coaches versus cancer, tournaments in Madison Square Garden to raise money. No more Hawaii, Maui. No more Bahamas. No more the Atlantis. Conference. Carolina, NC State, Duke, Clemson, UCLA, Washington, Oregon, Washington State, Kansas, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma. Like, This is Florida, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina. You're in the meat of your conference play in college basketball. And any college basketball coach will tell you, your first goal is to win your conference. You want to win your conference because that pretty much assures you into, well, it doesn't pretty much, I'm sorry, it guarantees you into the 64 or 68, I think now. I think they should cut the teams down. I don't think you need to keep adding teams. I don't know why 64 needed to be made 68. 64 was fine. I'd be fine if they dropped it to 56. I don't think there's 64 teams that can win a national championship. It's all about TV, sponsorships, and money in Vegas. I get all of that. But there's not 64 teams. 56, there's not 56. So you could cut it to 56 and that would be fine. But this is where you lock in, because coaches in NCAA basketball will tell you the number one goal is to win your conference. That's the first thing you want to do. So now college basketball deep into their conferences right now. This is where you're going to win some games you shouldn't win, lose some games you shouldn't lose. And if you're a great team like my Tar Heels right now, 4-0 in the ACC, first time since 2015, 2016 that they've started 4-0 in the ACC. Go check what happened that year with the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm telling y'all, I like Kentucky. I also like Connecticut. I like Connecticut, and I like Purdue. I think Purdue really coughed it up last year, but Edie and those guys are back. That's a good basketball team. Kansas took a L last night too, but it happens. It was 1 point to, I think, 76, 77, or 74, 75. But this happens, and that's when you know you're focused and locked in, because you're not supposed to go on the road and lose like that. But that team is locked in. They know they're not going to win the conference. But if they can get in that large with a win, when you look at the RPI and you look at strength of schedule, when it comes down to choosing the 64, you're going to see that they beat Kansas. That means a lot to them. You got to lock in and you got to focus. And there's something else about focus too. College football, focus. Who had the focus more this year than the Michigan Wolverines? Who? I mean, tell me in sports. In sports, period. Who's had to focus and lock in more this season than the Michigan Wolverines, the reigning, defending, undisputed national college football champions? Who had to focus more than them? Nobody. The NCAA has been on Jimmy Burgers for 3 years. Since the 2020 year, guys. Since the COVID year. That's where the cheeseburger comes from. A cheeseburger? I tell you, the NCAA, they're on their way out of college football. But they've done this to themselves. The NCAA has done this to themselves. And you know why? Because they focus on the wrong damn thing. Rich people with companies will tell you, big conglomerates, CEOs, those billionaires, they'll tell you, the better you treat your employees, the better you treat the people that helped you become a billionaire, the more billions you'll keep making. You can't treat people like crap and expect them not to cut corners, not to take long breaks, long lunch breaks, come in late with excuses, try to sneak out early when you out of town on your yacht in the damn Bahamas fishing for bonita fish, fishing for them big damn bonita fish. They won't do that. They say true leadership. True leadership is what happens. True parenting is what happens when you're not around. Integrity is what you do when no one's looking. The NCAA has done this to themselves with NIL, and coaches now speaking out. Jimmy Burgers. You want to come after me? How about this? Won't you give some of the kids the revenue? Won't you give them a piece of the revenue? You guys are making billions, tens to hundreds of billions of dollars on these college football sponsorships and TV deals. And you're telling a kid who can't get no free clothes, I can't get no kicks, I can't get no free meals, I can't get a little money in my pocket to survive while I'm taking classes, while I'm doing film study, while I'm doing rehab, while I'm training, while I'm doing spring ball, when everybody else is home. I'm in the beach in Cancun hanging out with all the memories. Yeah, I'm here to play football. I get all that. But that's what I sacrifice for that. I don't get nothing for that. I'm bringing in 100,000 fans, 90,000 fans. These college stadiums, if you ever go to one of these big college stadiums, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they crap on an NFL stadium. Now, a lot of more NFL stadiums, you get SoFi, Jerry's World, recently. But, I mean, through the 80s and 90s, the Big House has been around for 60 years. The Coliseum, they fit 100,000 people into these stadiums. Tell me what NFL game you're getting 100,000 people into. There was a number I saw once where somebody said Alabama makes anywhere between $10 to $19 million a Saturday on just concessions, clothes, like everything. So from the internet, from their website, from the concessions, from the team campus store, all the little vendors outside the state, $10 to $19 million a Saturday on just that part. No ticket sales, no parking, no buying out the VIP boxes if you're a big wig, big shot that's in Tuscaloosa or coming into town for the big game against LSU at night on Saturday night where Herbie and Fowler calling the game on ESPN. You're paying for that. You want that VIP? You want the Louisiana food, the Alabama, the golf food served to you? It costs. They collect all of that. You telling me the players don't get none of that? And now with NIL, the NCAA, they're going after anybody that speaks out against them. Bullies. That's the true bully because you're focused on the wrong damn thing. If you focus on treating the kids right, you guys would make even more money. Think about the money you can make. You guys are going to tax everything anyway, right? We locked a lot of people up. Now you can buy it on every corner. As soon as America figured out how you can tax it, it's cool. You can walk with a pen. You can walk with a vape pen with the marijuana oil. It's okay now because they can get their part of it. The NCAA could have acted just like that and made it fair, but you didn't. You got greedy, and you've been greedy for all these years. I've never besmirched the kid for taking a $100 handshake, $200 handshake. The house with Reggie Bush. Yeah, I'm Reggie Bush. You want me? All right, I already know you've paid people before, but nah, my mama need a job, and we need a crib down in the 619. I'm Reggie Bush. I'm going to go down as one of the top 10 college football players of all time. I'm going to make your university $50 billion over a time of my sales, ticket sales, concessions week to week. Even you took my Heisman and won't let me back. Why? Because the NCAA, they knew what was up. Everybody knew what was up. You think Will Ferrell, Snoop Dogg, and all celebrities just hanging out in the back of the end zone just cuz? Nah, follow the money. Follow the money. Is Snoop Dogg at the games now? And they had the Heisman Trophy. They had the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Was Snoop getting the end zone? Was they scoring and then handing the ball to Snoop like Lindell White was? No. But why? They was giving that. You got to give out that bread. Never work for free. Never pay to play. Are you kidding me? You got to pay me. So the NCAA screwed this up. And they've been going after Harbaugh because Harbaugh's the guy that's talking about this. They don't want you talking about it. And they've been after Harbaugh, man, for 3 years. And then, of course, the sign stealing. If I hear one more person who actually played the game of football try to tell me that actually will matter, you got to be kidding me. You can know what's coming. It's such a physical man-on-man game, it don't matter. You can know I'm about to run this route. But if I get a little elbow, a little push off, if the quarterback puts the ball on the outside away from you, we do this in practice. We did this 50 times Wednesday night after practice. We did it 65 times the next night. We did it 20 times this morning while we were out here just warming up. Put it down here. Put it down here. Put it down here. He's a good corner. He's going to press up on me. Just give him a little shake. He don't break. He's not going to lose him. He's good. He's an all-pro, right? Maybe an all-pro. Maybe a pro baller. You're not going to lose him. But if you put that bad boy right there, he can know what's coming. He can line up and say, yeah, I know you're about to run that 5-yard out. I am. You still not going to stop it. That's what I would say, Pat. I am. You still not going to stop it. But I still might make you think I'm going to run this slant or run something quick. But you know what's coming. But if the quarterback puts it right where we practice, it don't matter. You can have the signs. And you took Harbaugh off the field for 6 games. And what they do, they just beat everybody. It used to be Michigan versus everybody. Now I'm seeing T-shirts. I ordered one online too. Michigan beat everybody. We beat the NCAA. We beat your sanctions or your allegations. Connor Stallions. All right, former Marine. What's up, Marine? Nice job. It is what it is. Like I said, I don't mind envelope pushing in sports. It happens everywhere. You people who think that it's so pure, right? Steroids never happens. Oh, he's not on HGH. He never failed the test. And I used to say that about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds never failed the test. He never failed the test. But if you went by the eye test, which I always talk about, I love the eye test. I tell people all the time, don't fail the eye test. Fail the eye test, you're fooling yourself. Do you think you did it? Yeah. So we know this goes on. And on that note, too, I was told, I remember this is maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and this is real stuff. Someone had told me that he knew of someone that had told a prominent sports talk name in this business, I won't put his name out, that he knew of a SEC team that was being ran like an NFL franchise. And I was like, wow. And the person told me, I trust him. You know what I'm saying? I trust who I was talking to that day. We've had a lot of sports discussions, and then we see things happen. And I never put his name out there, and I won't, or the person that, I won't do that. But it's very believable. He knew he could tell me that because he knew I'm going to go, yeah. I mean, there's got to be at least 10 to 20 programs in the nation that before NIL that were being kind of run like pro football teams. If you remember the SMU scandal, SMU, they got caught, and people goes, all they had to do was stop paying players. And I remember in the documentary, one of the guys was like, we couldn't though. These kids signed contracts. These are payments. They're contracts like pro contracts. These are payments that still due to them. So we can't stop. We just have to figure out how to not get caught again because we owe these kids money. You don't just give a kid $50,000 up front, $100,000 up front. It's payments. It's payments. It's like a paycheck, man. Like you guys don't think that stuff happens? Like, come on. In college sports, cars. LeBron had a Hummer in high school. Please, man. So that's our word of the day segment, man, with the focus. And I know we bounced around. But I told you guys, I am a spiderweb. Spider-Man and Batman was my favorite superheroes. Spider-Man, baby. So sometimes I web around. I got to web around. But we'll take a quick break, man. And when we come back, we will go full recap of the college football national championship game from Monday night. I am VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny. You are watching Said What I Said on Infinity Television.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infinity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infinity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infinity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
I like that right there, man. Jeff coming through with the instrumentals. Welcome back, guys, to Infinity TV. VJ said what I said. I'm your host, VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Poppy. All right, so let's get right into the recap from the national championship game from Monday night in Houston, Texas. The Michigan Wolverines, undefeated, #1, going against the Washington Huskies, undefeated, #2. And last week I gave my prediction. I told you guys it was Michigan by a touchdown, possibly 10 or more. They beat them by 3 touchdowns and just beat Penix up. I can sit here and mathematician. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. When they win, they put on the, the Cartiers? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. Oh, they even had Jimmy Burgerstorm on. There we go. Now I feel like I'm part of the team. Y'all see that right there? Okay. Yeah, I like that right there. The Cartier. Well, these not Cartiers. These Hardiers. These not Cartiers. I don't want y'all to think I'm trying to front. Ain't that. But, Michigan put on their little glasses when they won the championship game, man, and was posing with them. But listen, this championship for Michigan goes really deep. It really does. And you have to either be just a diehard alumnus of the University of Michigan or just a diehard fan like I am of the University of Michigan to understand the magnitude of this national championship in football. You talk about the program with the most wins of all time. You talk about the program with the most legendary stadium of all time. You talk about a program with the most legendary winged helmets of all time. You talk about a program with the greatest fight song for a football game of all time. And you talk about one of the better game-changing coaches in football of all time, Jimmy Burgers Harbaugh. You talk about a guy that was at San Diego, and they were 1-11. He took them to back-to-back 11-win seasons and their first bowl win ever. He goes to Stanford. They're 1-11 when he gets there. He takes them to 11-1 with Andrew Luck. They win their first BCS bowl. You talk about him going to San Francisco, where they went 4-12, 4 straight years, and I think with a 5-11 year in there. He takes that exact same team and puts them in the conference championship 3 straight years. And he's an errant throw by Colin Kaepernick to Michael Crabtree from beating his brother in the Super Bowl and getting that win. You talk about a guy that took over Michigan that was 7-5 when he inherited them. It was coming off a season of them losing at home to Toledo. Michigan doesn't lose to Toledo on a Pop Warner field. They're never supposed to lose to Toledo in anything. I don't think there's a sport, not knocking University of Toledo, but they don't have the athletes Michigan does. Whether it's basketball, ice hockey, their swimming team, Michael Phelps, hello. Their hockey team, Chris Kreider, NHL, top star, hello. Like Michigan football, Michigan basketball, Fab Five. Anybody remember those guys? I mean, you could go through wrestling team. You can go through Michigan sports and find like the best of their women's softball teams. Always highly ranked. They're the best of the best there. They should never lose to Toledo in nothing. He inherited that team. Rich Rodriguez tore that program down. You have to be a guy and a fan to remember that this championship means the years that Mike Hart and Chad Henne came back for their 4th years just to say, I want to beat Ohio State, and didn't get it done that day. And Mike Hart's a coach on his team. He's going to get his national championship ring. But this championship goes deep for a guy like that. You talk about a guy like Braylon Edwards, who probably should have won or at least been ranked highly in some of the Heisman voting. He was just unbelievable there. Like, the reason why we call Sparty little brother is because of Braylon Edwards. Down in the game at home, it's late, there's nothing going. Just throw the fade pattern to Braylon Edwards 3 times in the 4th quarter, and he goes up and gets touchdown catches on all 3. Bring us back. That's the infamous Mike Hart little brother press conference game. Braylon Edwards. Like, Braylon Edwards, he dropped a wide open bomb in the Rose Bowl against Texas and Vince Young the year before they went back to the Rose Bowl to play USC. They got to the Rose Bowl the year before that with Cedric Benson at running back. Michigan goes into that game. The first play action, deep bomb. Braylon Edwards has beat Aaron Ross, who was drafted by the Giants. He lets the ball drop right between his hand. Michigan goes 3 and out. They never recover. They lose that game. That type of win is for a guy like that. That type of win is for a guy like Ty Law, who got some Super Bowl wins. But Ty Law is the guy, if you remember when Cordell Stewart threw the Hail Mary to Michael Westbrook, Ty Law is the guy that wraps Michael Westbrook up and tackles him down to the ground. He's the first guy to see that ball go in his hands. And Michigan, another highly ranked season where they had a shot at the national championship. And back then, you lose early. There weren't the BCS computers yet, and it definitely wasn't the college football playoff. You lost early back then in the early mid-'90s. You were done. It was hard to come back and win a national championship. Florida State in '93. They had one loss. They lost late or mid-October at South Bend to Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a chance to win a national championship that year. Glenn Foley from Boston College goes into South Bend on the last Saturday of the regular season and beats Notre Dame. That knocks them out, and it puts Florida State back in the national championship game against Nebraska. And they went on the last-second field goal. Work done, true freshman on that team. But it's for guys like Chad Henne, who is in the NFL now. He's got a long career. He's got a couple Super Bowl rings. But once again, he didn't get that national championship at Michigan. This type of win is for guys like, and I got a list here, Denard Robinson, Desmond Howard, who won a Heisman Trophy there, did great things at Michigan, never got that national championship. How about Jabril Peppers? Guys like that, 5-star recruits, coming in, thinking he's going to change the program. He's a guy that's going to change the program, and almost did. Remember, he's Michigan's best defense in the game where Ohio State got that terrible spot in the horseshoe. People forget Jim Harbaugh's had some great teams and just have some bad luck down the stretch. Iowa, we're 9-0 going into Iowa on a Saturday night. Quick sidebar. I told you I love sidebars. My first time ever really getting into sports talk and sports media, period, I wrote a blog. You guys remember blogtalk.com back in the day when everybody was blogging? I was like, okay, fine, I'll blog. The first article I ever wrote, which was actually a pretty good one, was called Conference Games on the Road at Night. Because conference games on the road at night, scary things, weird things happen in college football. That's where we see some of the biggest upsets, some of the ranking-changing games over the last 20 years. It used to be Thursday night football, but the NFL's taking that over. But now it's Saturday night games in the conference on the road at night. And there have been years where those games have just disrupted what Michigan could have done. And as far as like winning the national championship. I think about Anthony Thomas, A-Train, who scored over 50 touchdown rushes for touchdowns for Michigan football. The game against Northwestern, up Northwestern. Now, we had no business losing. I think it was like 51-48 and the double or triple overtime. But he had a fumble late in that game where the sea parted like Moses did it. And he's about to just run for about a 70-yard touchdown run. And a guy laying on the ground reaches up and just clips his hand and he fumbles. They recover. They go down. They kick a field goal, force overtime, and then they beat us in like triple overtime or something. I remember him jogging off the field, and you can see the tears through his. He had his helmet, but you can see the tears coming out of his eyes. Michigan was undefeated. Michigan thought they had the team to get back to a national championship or be awarded a national championship. That one loss. We had a year against Drew Brees and Purdue, another great Michigan football team. Undefeated going into that game. I think we're up 14 points in that game. That's David Terrell was our star receiver wearing the number 1 jersey. I believe we're up 14 points, if I remember correctly, against Drew Brees. And he does his Drew Brees act. Our corners are lost looking for the ball. Receivers who I can't even tell you none of those guys' names, man. That was beating us. You see how that just did that to me just now? And that was a while. This is Drew Brees at Purdue. We've already seen his own NFL career. And I think about that game, and I still just go, when I'm watching the defensive back do this. And the receiver's just running behind him, and the ball's dropping. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, come on. That took that type of pain. Like, you see that's raw emotion I'm giving you. That's what this win does. It erases all that stuff. Well, I guess it kind of does it because I did just get all hyped about it. But it takes the sting away. I can laugh about it now. Couldn't laugh about it until then. And then Harbaugh puts this team together over the last 3 years. They win 3 straight outright Big Ten titles, never been done before. They win 3 straight Big Ten championship games, never been done before. And they went to 3 straight college football playoffs, which no other team has done that. We have teams gone back-to-back, didn't have a fallout because they lose a lot of guys. Michigan went 3 straight years and then put the nail in the coffin and finished the job. Job, as Blake Corum said, job finished. When you look at this team and the guys that all came back, Blake Corum, shout out to VA. That's a Virginia boy right there. I'm 703. I think he's 504. He's out in that area. 540, excuse me, 504. I'm about to say that's down in New Orleans, the 504 boys. Old rap group in the bling era. But for what Blake was able to come back and accomplish last year, think about it. He's on his way to the Heisman. Blake Corum's on his way to the Heisman last year until he hurts his knee against Illinois. He tries to go in the Ohio State game. It's not there. Doesn't suit up for the Big Ten championship. Doesn't get to play against TCU. And then we have our run. If we have Blake Corum against TCU, I think we win that game. Even though they did jump on us, we had a touchdown taken off the board in that game. We fumbled on the goal line trying to be too cute. Instead of turning handing to Donovan Edwards, they tried to hand it to Mullins on the quick snap when Mullins is lined up right next to J.J. McCarthy. They fumble. TCU recovers. It never materialized that day. But they said they would be back. J.J. McCarthy, who I tweeted and said, when we recruited him, I follow football, guys. I told you, I follow recruiting. I cover high school football games. Well, not anymore. When I first got into the business out here in Los Angeles, I was working for Fox Sports West, and I was calling high school football games. Regular season, Bryce Young, DJ Uiagalelei, Kayvon Thibodeau, Zach Charbonnet, all those guys that are all in the NFL right now, except for DJ. He just transferred again to Florida State. I was so wrong about thinking Bryce Young was going to be a better NFL quarterback than DJ Uiagalelei back in the day when I was calling Bosco games. And I called Bosco and Mater Dei twice and watched both those guys go head-to-head in high school. I just looked at Bryce Young and said, yeah, that guy's a better NFL quarterback. oh my God, you're hating. Why are you hating on DJ? He's going to Clemson. He's going to follow Deshaun. He's going to follow Trevor. Yeah, he also ended up at Oregon State. Now he's at Florida State. Guess I went too correct about that. More names, though, I want to get back to, man. Amadi Toomer, who was a great Michigan receiver. This does something for him, man. Had a great year in career with the New York Giants. I believe might have been on the New York Giants Super Bowl winning team. believe so. Not sure with Jeremy Shockey. Wasn't it Shockey and was it Kerry Collins? Oh, no. I'm trying to figure out who the quarterback, man. It might not have been Kerry Collins. I lost my train of thought there with trying to figure out who that quarterback was there with Michael Strahan. Anyway, Tushamunga Biaka Batuka. A guy, yes, that was his real name. They called him Tim Biaka Batuka, but his first given name is Tushamunga. Last name was Biaka Batuka, running back from Michigan. Ran for over 300 yards in the Ohio State game. Went head-to-head with Heisman-winning running back Eddie George. Went head-to-head with Eddie George in that game. Eddie had a big game, too. But he ain't have over 300 yards. Biaka Batuka was running through Ohio State. Actually, kept Ohio State from winning the national championship that year. The Hutchinson family, Jake Butt. This championship, man, just solidifies the Michigan program as the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest college football program of all time. I know there's other teams that have championships of recent years. I believe every championship counts because I can't take championships away from an era. The Celtics, they won a lot in the 50s and 60s, and then they won a lot again in the 80s. It just is what it is. And then they caught one with Doc Rivers and P2. But it just is what it is. It doesn't mean those championships don't matter. The Lakers won in the 80s with Magic. Then they had a down year through the 90s, and then they got Shaq and Kobe and Phil. Once they got Shaq and Kobe and Phil, then it was the early 2000s. Then Kobe came back at the beginning of the 2002s. But they won some in the 60s and the 70s. But they have a lot of championships. They're all real championships. The Yankees have, 27 World Series? And they won some in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. And then they had the run with Joe Torre, and then they called another one in 09. But they're all championships. So Michigan now has 12 national championships. But this one right here, it erases every other championship Michigan ever won because it's not awarded. It wasn't voted upon. There were no computer numbers. You put your 11 out there on defense. You put your 11 out there on offense. I put my 11 out there on defense. I put my 11 out there on offense. And let's see what's good. And that's football. That's the great thing about football. And Jim Harbaugh epitomizes football. The man just does. Now, on the side of whether I think he's leaving or not, I'm not sure. Because if I'm Michigan, I really put a contract for like 10 years, $125 million, which what the rumors have been, I like the $100 million for like 8 years in extension, and maybe he can buy out after, or he can get out of it after 2 or after 3. If he wants to go to the NFL, which I think he does, I'm fine with that. But I think don't leave right after winning the championship. We just saw the coach from Washington, breaking news today, he's taking the Bama job. So, but you know, you kind of took Washington over what anybody thought they were going to be. This is strike while the iron's hot. Jim Harbaugh, he is the iron. You know what I'm saying? That he is that. He can go when he wants. When he can wait another year, there are going to be 4 teams that want him next year. He can wait 2 years. There'll be 4 teams that want him this year. This year, you have Washington, the Panthers, Vegas, Chargers, Seahawks, and one more team that I'm thinking of that I'm leaving out. But need new coaches. There are 3 of those teams. Chicago's not there anymore because that was really weird how Eberflus didn't get fired. The coordinators all did. They're sticking with Eberflus, which I hope that means they're sticking with Justin Fields. Quick sidebar. But I'm hoping that they stick with Justin Fields. You got to give the kid some talent around him for him to be successful. Don't move off of him yet. And then you have to bring in another rookie and start that process all over again. Listen, I like Caleb Williams. I just don't think he is absolute 100% can't miss. I don't think he's there. I think that he could be a good NFL quarterback, but the Pat Mahomes comparisons, Pat Mahomes needs weapons. It's showing this year. He also needs his coordinator back, Mr. Eric Bieniemy, who had the Washington starting quarterback, at the time, Sam Howell, the number 1 passer in the NFL. So don't tell me coordinators don't matter. But if you're Chicago, I truly do hope this means trade that pick, or you're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1 overall. I like the kid just like Rome Odunze from Washington. I love both receivers, but I've seen them have troubles with NFL-style corners in college. That worries me, especially Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I'm not sure if he was on cruise control this year because I thought he had a much better sophomore year than he did junior year. And sometimes that happens. Guys peel off a little bit. Not going to get out here and hurt myself. I'll put up some stats. And Naders from LSU, another big-time stud receiver, but nobody really had him ranked too high coming into the season, so he went above and beyond the show. No, I'm legit. I'm one of those guys. But flipping back over to Harbaugh and the coaching carousel, possibly, if he does go somewhere, I just think, why not stay in Michigan? Why go deal with the NFL? You did it. You got to the Super Bowl. You had 3 conference championships. At the end of the day, you're a national champion, especially if JJ decides to come back. And I like JJ a lot. I don't think he's ready for the NFL. I think one more year would do him some good, and he wouldn't have to. I think one more year would do JJ McCarthy some good in the NFL. In college football, and not go to the NFL. So, any more news on Michigan? You guys can just catch me on my social media, man. Don't forget to hit me up on the Big Vanilla Funny on my Twitter and the Big Vanilla Funny on IG. I've been posting crazy Michigan stuff. A lot of stats and numbers. Like I said, once again, I can give you the numbers all day long. And if I wanted to throw one out there, 300 yards on the ground. They took that Michael Penix offense and just shut it down. Number 1 defense in the nation, 9.5 points a game. Number 2 in yards allowed. They did not allow more than 24 points all season long. That's defense right there. And I know some people don't like the term defense wins championships, but sometimes it do. So, all right, so I can go ahead and take off my little my little fake hardy airs, and then put back on the good specs as we roll out of here, take a quick break, man. And when we come back, we will get into all of the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend playoff stuff, man. Some interesting games this weekend. There's a few surprises coming, and I don't know if it's going to be as cold as y'all think it's going to be. See what I did right there? We'll be right back, man. Y'all sit tight. VJ said what I said in Vanity Television.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infinity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infinity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infinity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
Good afternoon, everybody. VJ Vernon Husky with another episode of Said What I Said here on Infinity Television. All right, so let's get right into Super Wild Card Weekend. Great matchups. The sports guys, man, shine down on us with a couple of these things right here. But I want to throw a real quick sidebar in and take a left turn really quick because I was on my Twitter during commercial break, and one of my good friends, Emmett, a.k.a. the Blind Seahawk fan, is a big-time supporter of mine. Listens to my show over on iHeartRadio. Listen to me over on Fox Sports Radio and everything that I do here. And there's breaking news of some stuff going on with A.J. Brown. And, of course, that does lead into one of these games. The Eagles are at the Buccaneers come Monday night for Super Wild Card Weekend. But this is disturbing to me. This is disturbing to me. Emmett asked me what are my thoughts. So, Emmett, I'll give you a shout-out, man. You're a good fan of mine. And I'll tell you right now what I think as I see it coming across my feed here on Twitter. This is disturbing. This is weird. This is also, too, it feels like old-school diva receiver, personality, right? Like, anytime you scrub your social media now, it now means so much, right? I had people ask me, why do I not follow them? Like, I unfollowed somebody by accident before. They text my phone within like 45 minutes. And I was like, bro, I didn't mean to. I'm trying to even it up. Somebody told me on Twitter, if you follow way more of followers than you have, it's harder to get followers. So the people that don't follow you back, just go through and unfollow them. So I was just going through mass following, boom, 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 boom. You can only do 15 at a time, and I hit his name by accident. Wasn't paying no attention. I got a text message. Dude, bro, you unfollowed me? I'm like, bro, I didn't think it was that serious. Like, relax, fine, I'll follow you back. I didn't even know that you care or thought you cared that I followed you. So social media has done that where something happens, we look at it and we think it's, oh God, what's going on? So A.J. Brown, receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, has scrubbed his social media and was not at practice. Now, this could be one of two things. The first one I mentioned, receiver diva personality, or they could really be something mentally going on. And I am a big advocate for men's mental health, everybody's mental health, but I'm a man, so the only mental health I know about is a man's mental health. So I'm a big advocate for mental health, period, but especially men's mental health and children, too, being that I have two toddlers, Cameron and Journey, at home, a 4- and a 2-year-old. So this could be some of that. So I'm not – it's weird. It's disturbing. I'm not going to comment too much on it. I need more. Game's not until Monday night. This could be a guy zoning out and just wanting to focus on this game, knows how much pressure is on his head coach, on his quarterback. He hasn't been getting a lot of targets. They got mollywopped and got scraped by the Giants to close the year out. You don't want that. They've lost 5 of their last 6. Last big win was the overtime win at home and the driving rain against the Bills. It's a lot going on there, man. Jalen Hurts didn't throw the ball this week because he got a finger injury, but it's getting better. He should be good to go, but didn't throw a pass. And it's Philly's got a lot going on. Let's go there. Let's just start there. Monday night, the Philly and the Bucks. I could mathematician you guys to death and give you guys rankings and all that good stuff, which I love to look at, and I do my research. I told our guy Jeff here, I was up to 4 a.m. really prepping for all the work and shows, plus my radio show that I have tomorrow. So, but this one, I didn't write any numbers down. I looked at this, man, and I looked at the offense. We know what's up with Tampa. Tampa's played above their head. Tampa's had a great year. Baker made himself some money. Baker's going to get a deal. Why wouldn't you bring him back? You're a playoff team. You need some other weapons. You need to figure out what you're going to do with future Hall of Famer Mike Evans. You better figure out what you're going to do there. But you're going to need some extra players, some extra help on offense. You got money to go there. You just won the division. You got a home playoff game. You weren't expected to do well. They're playing with house money. Philly just came out of the Super Bowl. And if not for Jalen Hurts getting stripped and a scoop and score right before the half, they beat the mighty Chiefs. And we're talking about Pat Mahomes. We don't hear Jabroni. We don't care about Taylor Swift and Kelsey this year. That probably never even happens because at that point, he's a 2-time Super Bowl loser, not a 2-time Super Bowl winner. There's a difference. So there's a difference in 5-2 and 6-0 and 4-6. See what I did there? There's a difference. So I look at this game, and this is all Philly, man. This is all on Philly. This is a must-win for the Philadelphia Eagles. They cannot lose this game. If they lose this game, now, I wouldn't fire Sirianni, but from what I hear, he's not a likable guy. Like, he kind of, I hate the word cringe. I don't like new terms. I'm getting old. I'm that guy. I didn't say fleek when fleek was out. I don't say lit. Like, I hate that. Oh, it was lit. Like, who's that? I'm asking, who's that? God bless you. You know, I'm not with these terms, but cringe does kind of fit for how I hear people talk about the Eagles, Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, and the way he acts and things of that nature. So he could be on the hot seat. I wouldn't fire him, but this is going to come down to his neck on the line, Jalen Hurts' neck on the line. People are already looking for Jalen Hurts to fail. Last year, he didn't. People don't like the Philly tush push. It was cool at first. And isn't that how we just are in society, man? It's all fun and games and cool at first. And then once one or two people get really good at it and it can't be stopped, the rest of us don't want it anymore. And that's how the Philly tush push, I feel like, is happening. And now you have this A.J. Brown situation. They've had a lot of injuries on defense. Big game, Darius Slay has been hurt a lot. So they're hurt on the back end. I think it's going to be good weather, so at least it's not going to be cold like some of the other games that we're going to talk about. But I think that this is a game that the Philadelphia Eagles, they have no choice but to win this game. You do not want to go into the offseason losing 6 or 7 and backing into the playoffs, getting your ass handed to you back-to-back games. You don't. So that's all I got for this game. Tampa's good at defense at home. They can run the ball. They have Baker. Baker makes a throw or two. Line's 3. Here's the thing. The Eagles are favored. The over-under's 43. I feel this is 23-17. 24-20, 21, somewhere. I don't think it's a blowout. Whoever doesn't turn the ball over, and this could also be the Swift game. Philly just needs to turn and just hand the ball to Swift and then work off your play action. And when you got a Philly tush push, they haven't outlawed it, so just keep doing it until somebody stops it. Hit Devontae Smith, find him a time or two on drive-changing receptions and plays down the field, and I think Philly could come in with the win. But I don't like the 3-point spread for Philly to cover. I think the Bucs being at home and Baker having that chip on his shoulder, and they have Mike Evans. That he seems to be the X factor. The other big-time receiver we're hearing about isn't good right now for the Philadelphia Eagles, but we're not hearing anything out of Mike Evans. They're focused. They're locked in. So I'll take the Buccaneers in this game. I know I might be wrong on this one, but there's always 2 or 3 underdogs, not road teams, but underdogs as far as betting goes, that wins every Super Wild Card weekend. So there's 2 or 3 of these teams that's winning this weekend that's not supposed to win the game, not pick the game. I'll take the Bucs there. The game of the weekend to me, I think, is the Rams at the Lions. Why not, right? 2009, coming out of Georgia, the Detroit Lions, they draft Matthew Stafford. 2016, coming out of Cal, the LA Rams, they draft Jared Goff, number 1 overall. And then one guy gets to a Super Bowl, the other guy doesn't have a playoff win, and they swap. And then the guy that never had a playoff win not only gets to a Super Bowl in LA, he wins it. The guy that goes up to Detroit's done very well, Mr. Jared Goff. Since he's been up there 3 years, guys, 12,258 yards, 78 touchdowns, only 27 interceptions. That's efficient as a microwave. And you know, the microwaves are efficient. You put it in there and hit a minute and start. It may not heat it up all the way, but it starts. It's going to start to heat up. That's what it does. They're efficient. He is efficient as he's been, I should say, efficient as a microwave since he's been up there in Detroit. This game is huge. And I know a lot of fans we're gonna salute Matthew Stafford. We're pulling for him. We're going to support him. Listen, not in the playoff game, but I'm picking the Rams in this one, man. I've always loved Matthew Stafford. I thought he got a lot of blame for what was going wrong in Detroit. But for 30 years, a lot went wrong in Detroit. So I'm trying to figure out how was that Matthew Stafford's fault. All he ever did was show up and play. I mean, the guy threw a pass left-handed wants to win a game because his right shoulder was dislocated or broke a collarbone, whatever it was. He went back out there. Like, that's the type of guy I want to play for, especially if that guy's my quarterback. I definitely want to play for that guy. So give me the Rams here. If they're +3, they're the underdog. So there's another underdog I'm taking right there. And I only got one left. I'm not sure if I'm going to take any of the other dogs and the rest of them. But I think the Rams go up to Detroit. Detroit can score. People think there's going to be some points. It's indoors, so they don't have to worry about the wind and the cold and the snow like some of these other games that are going on in the playoffs. Indoors, high-powered offenses, Puka Nacua, rookie record for receiving yards, rookie record for catches. It's amazing what Matthew Stafford has done. The number 1 receiving yard season, Megatron, Matthew Stafford. Number 2, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Rookie catches, rookie yards, 4 receiver, Puka Nacua, his quarterback, Matthew Stafford. It's funny how that works out. But he's not a Hall of Famer. Oh, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Even though he's top 11 in yards all time, top 11 in touchdown passes all time, he's got the Super Bowl ring. And 3 of the most prolific receiving seasons ever in the NFL, he was the quarterback. But it's not him, though. He's the common denominator. Stop it. So I like them to go up there. I love what Detroit's done on offense. I love what Dan Campbell's done with this team in this city. He's revived this team in the city. I just don't think it's their time yet. They're still a piece or two away. And they're still not getting people's respect. Because if you think about it, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he said himself, I don't know how many receivers ever had 1,500 yards and over 10 touchdowns or 12 touchdowns and didn't make the Pro Bowl. He definitely should have been a Pro Bowl. And so should have Gibbs, the rookie running back out of Alabama that transferred from Wake Forest. So you look at those factors in that game. I see points. I like points in this game. I like some excitement. Adam Hutchinson, I think he'll have a dope game coming off the end. I like him to have a sack because Stafford likes to hold the ball sometimes. So I think you get that type of excitement from him. Brian Branch, rookie safety, has played really, really well from Alabama. He can make a play or two, but I just like McVay and Matt going back home to the team where he was for, I believe, 10 years. And Campbell, like I said, the Lions, they'll be fine in the future. Future's bright. That's what people like to say, right? Future's bright. If I can invest in you, I would, because your future's bright. Future's bright. If I can invest in the Detroit Lions, I would. But not yet. And I feel the same way about the Houston in the Browns game, and we'll go to that game right now. The Browns have already beaten them this year. They have a type of man-to-man coverage in the bodies and the guys that could kind of throw the receivers off, which they did earlier this year. No Tank Dell. He's on the IR. I love Nico Collins, but you're going to need more than that. Dalton Schultz at the tight end position will have to have a big game. And Singletary's going to have to run the ball well. But I look at this Houston Texas team, and I think, I know you're in the playoffs. It's a good story for CJ. I still think Puka Nacua is going to win Rookie of the Year. He should. But if not for the Colts taking their best player off the field, 4th down, and throwing to a guy with, 4 or 6 catches, they're not here. You know what I'm saying? So I know they're here, and I don't want it to seem and feel like hate juice, but I think the more veteran team, the Cleveland Browns, you got Uncle Joe back. Joey's back. Flacco just slinging that thing around. Amari Cooper. Well, no, last year I could have said Dallas made a mistake, but CeeDee Lamb, and I'll get to this probably when I talk about the Packers and Cowboys. At the beginning of the year, I had CeeDee Lamb as a top 10 receiver. And there were some people on Twitter that didn't agree with me on that. But I will say he had a top 10 receiver type season. Now, I do want to see if he can go do it again. He did have 1,700 yards this year. He had a great year. Shout out to CeeDee Lamb. You prove a guy like me a little wrong, not completely, because I want to make sure and see that you can do it again. But Amari Cooper, man, what a year he's had. And he's had to do it with 4 quarterbacks? Quick sidebar. Speaking of which, stop thinking you're protecting the league so much by protecting quarterbacks. You're not protecting quarterbacks. 61 guys had to start this year. That's not protecting the quarterback. NFL always messes this up. They bother the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. The bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich is the best breakfast sandwich ever been made. And then one day somebody said, let's put tomato on it or let's put avocado on it. Leave it alone. It was fine the way it was for centuries. You didn't have to mess with it. The NFL's been fine. You have to mess with we want to protect the quarterback. How are you doing that? 61 guys call signals for teams this year. That's a lot of There's 32 teams. 61 different starting quarterbacks? Stop it. But give me the Browns here to win that game on the road, but they're favored 2 points. And then the last two, the Bills and Steelers, I don't want to touch this one. It was at a +9. I like the Bills at home. Josh Allen, big body, Cook, run the ball. 50-mile-an-hour winds from what I hear the NFL was thinking about moving this game. So I don't expect a lot of scoring here. The Steelers, no TJ Watt. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games. In the 10 games, they haven't had him. They're 1-9. Guess who they don't have come this weekend? They don't have TJ Watt. They don't get that dub there. Bills move on to the next round. And then my beloved Dolphins, I'll make it short and sweet. Under 40 degrees, we are 1 in our last 10, or 1-9 or 1-10 in the last under 40 degrees. It's going to be cold. It's going to be frigid. We just don't have the bodies on defense. We lost our 2 edge rushers. You take the 2 edge rushers off of any defense in the NFL, it's going to look different. Then the guy that comes to fill in, which was for us, Van Ginkel, who was balling out of control too, he gets hurt. He's done for the year. He's on IR. We lost another linebacker last week. They're on IR. I don't think Xavier Howard is playing. We get Mostert back. We get Waddle back. But minus 30 wind chill, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. So I'm going to do something that I normally wouldn't do. I'm going to make y'all think that I wasn't going to pick my Dolphins, and I'm taking my Dolphins to go on the Arrowhead. Tyreek Hill coming back home, getting the dub, moving on to the divisional round, man. So, and they're at a plus 4.5, so I like them to cover anyway. Against the spread, they're 12-5 in their last 17 against the spread when they're the underdog. So I like that stat right there. Those are our picks for Wild Card Weekend, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in once again and watching me, VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, here on Infinity TV. This is VJ's I Said What I Said. Now check us out Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock. Every Saturday morning, 9 o'clock a.m. on YouTube and infinitytv.com. God bless. Kiss and hug your loved ones. You guys have a great week.